tonight we have a very special guest. We have a CC member, Gordana, who used to be a social worker, but had to leave the field because she is quite the intuitive empath. When she was younger, she really didn't understand that, but it was very difficult for her, especially at the end when she was working as a child protection worker on the reserve. Since then, she's owned her own retail business for over 15 years, and she's really dived in to some spiritual communities. She has taken lots of workshops and has become a yogi, and she is also becoming very well versed as she's completed her certification in holistic nutrition, and has become a yoga instructor, and has also taken on Reiki as well. She is dabbling in a lot of modalities, and not only that, she also has a wonderful retreat space that she's going to be offering services. I'm just going to throw her website into the chat here so you all can check it out. There it is, Higher Ground Wellness Center. Amazing. Gordana, welcome to the group. It is I'm super excited to have a discussion and ask some questions about how you are doing in Vancouver Island and the services that you're offering for that community. Welcome to the group, Gordana. Very happy to have you.
Thank you for having me. Hi, everyone. Yes, Vancouver Island's beautiful, and I have been here for about maybe 16, 17 years, and I love it. I've lived in many places, but the island's where the heart is.
Absolutely. A lot of people come on these Zoom calls and talk about how they live on the island and talk about how beautiful it is. And I am stuck here in concrete jungle in southwestern Ontario, and I'm very jealous indeed. But hopefully soon I can get out there and visit your location, because it looks absolutely beautiful. Why don't we start at the beginning? Can you dive a little deeper into your work as a social worker and what kind of pulled you into that career, and how was that time, and what really propelled you to make a shift in your life?
I always wanted to help people, and so I actually first became sociologist. Well, I took sociology and psychology and then social work in Toronto when I used to live in the jungle. And then I escaped, and then I became a social worker, and I was so eager to get out there and help everybody, and soon I realized that that's not going to happen, that you can help those who don't want to be helped. And going into child protection was really what was really difficult. I almost had a nervous breakdown. I worked on reserves with the First Nations. And before I took that position, I actually never even seen a reserve. So it was quite a challenge. I lasted just over 2 years and decided that that I just couldn't take it on. It changed me. I did almost have I probably did have a nervous breakdown. And instead of continuing with my master's degree in counseling, which is what I wanted to do, I moved to Vancouver Island. And this is from BC Interior, Williams Lake, for those people that know it. I lived there briefly with that position, and I moved to the island. I first became a real estate agent, and then I opened up my retail store. And what really set me on a spiritual journey. Well, everything happened at once. I lost my father. And before I lost him, he actually had a heart attack and was in a coma for a month, and then a vegetable for 4.5 years. So watching that and realizing that there's just a body here. I always knew about the soul, but I never really thought about it. But there was a moment when I was sitting in a hospital and I just realized there's nobody in there. And that propelled me to explore basically spirit. And I'd taken many workshops. And at that time too, I was going through a rough relationship that ended. And I came down, I just became very ill. I had heavy metal poisoning. I don't know how I got those in my system, but mercury, lead, aluminum. And so I had to go through chelation for 3 years. Ended up with a couple autoimmune diseases, and that totally changed me, my priorities, life. And I had to learn to heal myself because doctors couldn't help me. So I tried and worked with alternative medicines, and I was really intrigued by all of that. So I eventually went back to school and became a holistic nutritionist. I moved out on acreage and started growing my own organic food, which I pretty much live off my little farm here. I do have to buy avocados and bananas, which are my favorite, but I don't really eat meat. I did try to have eggs, and I had my own chickens and ducks, and then I became allergic to the eggs. So I can't have any animal protein. I do occasionally can have fish, but it's mostly vegetables, and that's what really saved me if I didn't have the food that I have. I'm also celiac, and I have a lot of allergies, and I have very sore joints and muscles. So if I don't do yoga, I can't sleep. Meditation became something that came naturally to me, and for a number of years, it's something that I regularly do. And then I decided, well, why don't I just try and help others do the same? And I have the space, and I did have my Reiki, but only for myself. And then I decided, well, I can try and use that as healing for those who need it as well. So, so right now I am trying to get things going. And at this time of COVID, it's not really happening. It's all ready to go, and I am doing some private classes and sessions. But I have a yoga studio and a healing room for Reiki, crystal healing, and a new modality with scalar wave and Tesla technology and crystals, and of course nutrition. So my goal starting this was to teach people how to be healthy, how to eat healthy. If they want to grow food, I can help them with that. How to cook, how to prepare. You can ferment, you can sprout. There's so many things that can be done. It's just your priorities, because people say I don't have enough time. It doesn't really take that much time if you're organized. So I wanted to invite people so that they can have the hands-on experience and see and actually do things with me, so that I can teach them how to do this. So little weekend retreats or one full day where I can assess what they need and their abilities, and I can send them off home with recipes, and I can always supply them with the food here for local people and help them. Even if you live in an apartment, you can still grow some food on your balcony if you have one. So there's lots of ways to be healthy and be self-sufficient. So that's one of my goals, to be self-sufficient. I think we all should try and do that if we can. I know it's difficult in Toronto, but for us living out here, there's really no excuses. We in BC and on the island here, we've got everything that we can possibly ask for. So.
Wow, that's amazing. There's definitely lots to unpack there. But I'm sure a lot of that does resonate with everyone here, as I think a lot of us, if not most of us, occur or encountered some sort of hardship or some sort of trigger trauma to send us on the path of a different trajectory of spirituality and healing and exploration. So thank you so much for sharing that. And it sounds like you know, whether it was further in the past and present and in the future, it sounds like you've always had this kind of service to others approach. Would you say that that's really instrumental in pretty much everything that you do? And is that the main motivator for trying out these different modalities? And what are some of the modalities that I know you listed some, but what are some that that you are currently working on at that the retreat there?
I guess I have always been, and I think I'll say this for all the ladies listening. I think we were raised to be caretakers, so we take care of everybody else, and we neglect ourselves. So there came a point for me where I didn't have a choice, where I had to be hit on the head really hard before that, I could actually see what was going on around me and be forced to care for myself. So I did have that journey, and I didn't think that I could do it. I was down pretty low, but I could. And then I figured if I could do it, anybody can do it. And so I just always wanted to help people and show them, yes, you can do it. And it's all in your beliefs, in your attitude. So I have a very grounding energy. I hold space for people. So even though I'm no longer a social worker, but somehow people gravitate to me and just talk to me out of the blue. Strangers just confide in me, and I know that that's something that I just hold space, and people are comfortable with me. So that's, to me, it's just nature. It's always been that way. Not so much in a professional. Right now, I'm trying to be a little bit more professional and going full time into it. I'm selling my current retail business so that I can fully be free to be of service. And I wanted to build a little community here in my neighborhood and on the island, where people can come and hang out whenever they want to, because I do have the space, and so I'm willing to share. I'm also envisioning having little circles, in summertime, little, fire pits, and just really good talks for people getting together. Maybe ladies, girls time, bonding time, just to hang out maybe once a week, or watch a movie, or talk about whatever they need to talk about. Full moon, new moon ceremonies. Lots of things that can be going on. It's a beautiful, quiet space, and I would love to share my space, which is new for me, because I love my privacy. I love my space. That's why I'm here. But there came a time where I realized that I had to share it. It was not just meant for me. I do feel it's a very sacred place, lots of energies and spirits and elementals. I'm very intuitive and sensitive, so I sense them and work with them, with growing food and talk to trees, all that crazy stuff. Like most of you, I'm sure. So it's that kind of a place. So I always welcome people. I feed people all the time, strangers. I send them home with food. I always have extras. So that's what I'm focusing on, and then the healing, trying to have a balance in life, which is really difficult. And I've struggled with that, being a workaholic, and always having on too many things. So I finally have found, although I'm still working a little too much, but I can see the light. I do take a lot of time for myself, and that's what keeps me grounded and safe and positive. If I don't have my me time, I don't think that I would be the same person. And I do take me days where I turn off my phone, I don't talk to anybody, just have a quiet day or even half a day. And that rejuvenates me. And I encourage everybody to do the same. So that's where I'm at. And I welcome any suggestions, by the way, because I'm only starting this. And my website, I just threw that on this week just for you guys. It's still work in progress, but it gives plenty of information just to get an idea of what I'm trying to do. And I don't have a lot of photos yet because spring is just sprung. So I am going to be taking photos of the property and the gardens and everything else and adding to it, and probably doing and the blog. I'll be doing a blog with recipes and tips and healing articles and things like that. And just kind of, this is all new for me because I'm an introvert. So, getting out there, and just sharing and connecting with people.
Absolutely. So much great stuff there. I absolutely love it all. I wish we had a place like that where I am at, and we can go out and have some fires and some good conversation and heal together, and share together. Lots of people in the chat are really wondering where you are located, because I think that they would love to come and visit you. Everyone's really excited about some of the potentials and some of the ideas that you just said.
Yeah, so I am in the Nanaimo, which is central Vancouver Island, actually just south of Nanaimo for you on the island. I am off Nanaimo River Road, which is just by the airport, 5 minutes from the airport. Anybody who wants to come and visit, very close. Ferry terminal's 10 minutes away. So Victoria is about an hour and a half south. I did not list my address on the website or my phone number yet, but anybody who's interested, who just even wants to come over and just hang out when I have the time, I'm happy to do that. Or even anybody on the island who wants to do a little group get together. I've got the space, so we can have little meetings, meditation, talks, whatever, lots of ideas that we can do. So I invite everybody to contact me and come by and check things out.
Amazing. Yeah, we've had some wonderful conversations about coming on as a coordinator, and after some talks, it was really about the passion of just really getting people together there locally. So we'd love to develop some groups there with your help. Absolutely. Let's pause on that for a second. I'm sorry, Maria, I'm not in Toronto. I'm in Brantford, very quickly. But let's pause on that for a second. And I'm kind of curious about some of these modalities. I love healing and all of that wonderful stuff. And I love talking about different ways that we can. You are looking at a very interesting new unique technology to go with some of the other things that you're working on. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is it called scalar waves? Scalar waves. Can you briefly just go through that for everyone here? What does that mean? What does that do? And what's so good about it?
Well, it's basically the Tesla technology. I'm sure most of you have heard of Tesla coils. And so it's just different frequencies, and there's lots of different products. So I've just gotten this what's called a scalar wave generator. And it's a little machine generator that has different slots to charge. You can charge discs, which I've been working with Tesla discs. So it recharges them, that you can use that on your body for healing, for meditation, clearing space, charging water or food or whatever you like, on pets. And it's also got this new, so I'm just learning this, it's got an imprinting feature where you can actually imprint. You can do that with, say, frequency. You can pick 428 hertz or whatever you like, or it could be intention or whatever you like. You can imprint it to an object like, a jewelry or a crystal for healing, or a piece of music that you want to use for meditation or healing. And you can also use it to manifest. You can write out your wish and put it there, and then use certain frequencies, or have a photo of a person that needs healing. Say it's distance healing. So you place a photo there, and you can work on the healing as well. So it's really, really interesting and a little complex for me. I'm still learning, but it's I'm playing around with it. I've had the discs for a long time, and I use them when I meditate. I also have one of those biomats, the amethyst mats. I've had one for 10 years. And so I lay on it, and then I take these discs and I put them in different chakras. And I also became a crystal Reiki master just recently, which is interesting because I've always loved crystals, and I have a lot of them. And I didn't know there was such a thing, but there is. So it's basically using crystals to do Reiki. And so now I can use these crystals with the scalar as well, and imprint what I want onto it, and charge them for each person. So it'd be charging them and then cleansing them. So lots of different features, but the technology, it's basically just that Tesla technology that has different waves that do different things. So there's lots to it, but that's the gist of it.
No, that's fantastic. Lots of people have been there's some people talking about in the chat right now about that technology. So it is on people's radar. So this sounds like something very, very beautiful that could really do some wondrous work for people that are looking for that. Can we talk about crystals a little bit? You said that you love crystals. You have a lot of them. What got you into crystals and using crystals as healing, as a healing method? And what are some of your favorite crystals?
Well, my favorite, amethyst, anything purple. Yeah, I love purple. So I love them all, but amethyst is my favorite, and quartz, clear quartz, which is an amazing, very powerful crystal. I don't really know what got me into it. I just always was attracted to it, and I would just get one or two, and then I met some friends who knew a lot about crystals and how to choose them, and then I got a crystal book, and I just dabbled into it. And I love rocks. So when I travel, what do I bring home? Rocks. I have a collection of rocks from all kinds of places. I don't know why. I live on a big rock, as you can see on my website. That's my higher ground. I just always just love them. So I come home with a luggage full of rocks, and I have little spaces for them, and I'll turn them around, and I don't need to buy souvenirs. I pick up rocks. And crystals are just magical to me, and I can feel the energy. Maybe that's why. And so I can feel, and I'm learning about crystal grids. I just got one, and you can use that for healing. To me, it's fascinating. It's powerful, it's beautiful, It's, I don't, again, like the traditional medicine or any of that stuff. To me, I'm very earthy. I'm very connected to earth. I'm the happiest when I'm out in the woods or digging in the garden or sitting in the grass. And to me, that's my authentic self. So rocks, crystals, dirt. Yeah.
Amazing, amazing. Let's go back for 1 second. You were just talking about a little bit of some nutritional stuff there. Can we talk about what some of your approaches were when you're going through your own healing? What really worked for you? What recipes or what kind of foods, what practices worked for you to really help you detox and get a lot of those toxins out of your body?
Well, to start with chelation, because I had 40 to 50 times more mercury and lead in my system than you should. And a lot of my memories disappeared because mercury gets into your brain. And I used to have photographic memory in school. I could see that book when I had to write a test, and I don't have that anymore. And I have holes in my memories, which bothers me, but that's, just how it is. And so I had to take intravenous chelation therapy, which was very taxing on the body. And so I was seeing a Dr. Klein over here, for people that know him. He's a medical doctor, but also functional medicine. And I didn't know then that when I worked in Toronto, I worked with the elderly. I was a home care coordinator, and I was having all these rashes, and I didn't know if I caught something from the clients. Been to so many doctors and biopsies, and nobody could tell me what I had. And he took a one look at me and said, "That's gluten." My wife has the same, like 20% of celiacs have the same rash, and I didn't know. And so I also did a detox, and I would have a black coffee in the morning, not even a full cup, just one in the morning. And so I couldn't have any caffeine during this. And I went through withdrawals for maybe 4 or 5 days. And then I realized this is a drug. I know coffee lovers, that's just, I'm a tea lover now. So I realized that, I've never taken any drugs in my life, and I wasn't going to be dependent on anything. So I stopped drinking coffee. And so that was my introduction into how powerful certain foods and substances could be. So for me, I've experimented with a lot of different diets and going through becoming a holistic nutritionist. Before that, I could share that with people. I wanted to see what works and what doesn't. And so I would go on for 6 months or a year and do a certain diet, follow a certain person. And then I would realize, well, no, that's great. But then I find something else because I get a curious mind. And I would try something else. And I've come to a conclusion that everybody is unique. And it depends on the time of our lives. So what's good for me today might not be good for me, 3 months from now. And it's not the same for you. So just because I don't eat meat and certain things, that doesn't mean that I will not suggest to people who need the meat, or I would always suggest, grass-fed and, humanely raised. But I don't just subscribe to one certain diet, because I believe that, we're all different, and it depends what you're dealing with too. I do regular cleanses and detoxes. I do lemon water in the morning. I do celery juice every morning, and I do my detox smoothie. Again, I have a lot of liquids in the morning before my day, and then I do eat very healthy, so salads for lunch or roasted veggies, which I love, and I love to cook. So sometimes I would cook and bake and experiment, and then I have all this food that has to be eaten, so I do share. or I'll have to eat and, burst. So my dog, unfortunately, doesn't eat some of the food that I make. He doesn't appreciate some of the healthy options that I have. But I do cook for him too, because he's spoiled. I would say for detoxing, many ways to do a simple way, even just lemon water and drinking lots of fluids and, eliminating trouble foods that could be something that causes allergies, such as dairy, gluten, eggs, soy, processed foods, sugar, and just eliminating those and eating real food, eating fresh food, eating vegetables and fruits, healing foods. And there's lots of healing herbs and lots of healing foods that you can eat. And this sounds silly sometimes, but even when you can't have organic or fresh, you can always bless or cleanse your food before you eat and thank the food for the nutrients and nourishing you and so on. And I do that when it's not my own, with my own food. I mean, I talk to my food and I really appreciate what it does for me. But just simple things. But when it comes to detox, could be smoothies. It could just be vegetables. It could be just one single mono diet, just eating, potatoes and nothing else, and drinking water. So I customize to every person and what they're dealing with and what they're willing to do, because some people want to get healthy or want to have a change, but are not willing to give up certain things. So sometimes there's no point, because you just like adding oil to the water and, it's not doing anything. But it does take time for people to slowly give up things that they love. And one of the biggest reasons why we are addicted to certain foods is they are actually, those are the ones that we're allergic to. We just, we can't give them up. So in today's world and our diet's horrible. And no wonder there's so many illnesses and depression and the way people feel. So I just want people to go back to nature and connect with nature and spirit and, just tune in, because we are all unique beings and we are not meant to be eating processed foods and carbonated drinks and, all that stuff. Occasionally maybe, but that's, our bodies are not meant to filter all that. So our kidneys and our livers get clogged and our lymphs don't drain. So this could be, so it's very complicated. So
No, it definitely is, but and definitely difficult when we're talking about habits. And we are definitely creatures of habit, and we don't like to give up certain rituals and routines and the things that make us feel comfortable. But we are heading into a time where we definitely need to be in synchronicity with the vibrations of the earth, of the universe, of all that is. And the things that you just described, a lot of that that denseness there keeps us low, suppresses us, keeps us in a state of like sadness and depression, and just not being able to function in the way that we want to be able to be to function, and how we, and to connect and to share. It really closes in the walls and kind of puts us in a place of I don't want to be here anymore. What can I do to get out? But then not knowing the tools, not knowing what some of the options are to get out. So nutrition, some of these modalities, these are all really good, but like you said, everyone is different, and everyone's going to respond to a treatment or a diet or or a modality in various ways. So very important that you kind of see what works for you and what resonates with you on your path. There is a quick little question here from Maria. Wants to know, how do you know when to eat a mono diet?
Well, a mono diet is just one of the options when you are trying to maybe do a detox, but you're not ready to dive in all the way. If you're having gut issues in digesting food, picking something that's easy to digest, and just eating and even fruit. Sometimes it's a combination. It's food combining that's an issue. So we have to also learn, like melon rule. You always eat melon on its own as it goes through you really quickly. So if you eat melon with something else, then whatever else is in there will be, sitting there and fermenting in your gut and cause all sorts of issues. And if you have a foggy brain, which I've had for a long time, first with mercury, then with gluten, that's why sometimes people feel a fatigue and foggy brain and tiredness and no motivation. A lot of times that's coming from lack of nutrition and your gut. They say the gut is the second brain. It's probably the first brain, I think. A lot of nerves in your gut, and they communicate with your brain. So a mono diet is just something that's easy to do. So sometimes it's more important to eliminate certain things and trouble foods than it is to eat certain foods that you need. But because if you're still eating what you're not supposed to eat and you're trying to cleanse your liver, for example, but you still eating all the processed foods and all the junk, your liver cannot be clean because it's constantly trying to filtrate all that stuff. And it's even doing a one thing that everybody can do easily is an intermittent fasting. Stop eating at 5, 6 in the evening and maybe don't eat till 10 or 11. So that's even giving your gut a break for at least 15 or 20 hours, or once a week you fast. Then it has time to process everything and rest, because we're constantly eating. And I used to snack all the time because I always felt that I had low blood sugar or something, because if I didn't eat, I'd be really not in a good mood. I won't say bitchy, but not in a good mood. And then I had to give up snacks with one of the diets that I was trying, and I didn't think I could do it, but I realized just a habit. So and I do snack now again, but I don't eat usually past 6 o'clock at night. And so you can do that on an ongoing basis, or you can do it for longer if you can, or, just the first time I fasted for a day, I didn't think I could make it because I thought I would faint, but it was the clearest I've ever been in my life. You're hungry in the beginning, I would just drink water and tea. Coconut water you can drink, or you can even have bone broth. I don't do that because I don't do animal. And one of the reasons why I don't eat meat is a long time ago, probably, oh God, maybe 15 years ago, I would eat spaghetti with meatballs and so on once in a while. And then I didn't eat it for 6 months, and then I had it, and it was like eating metal. It was so disgusting. And so I didn't eat beef. And then one day I realized I don't want to eat anything that I can pet and they can look at me like a chicken. I don't need to eat that. So I just stopped. It's a spiritual thing for me. I don't need to eat it. And I do realize that, I do the same thing to vegetables. I do, eventually kill them. And so that's been something that I'm really thinking about. It's different because, you pick the fruit, you don't actually kill the vegetable until it dies. So I justify that, but I'm very sensitive to the energies. And having vital foods. So what are you feeding? What are you putting in your body? If you're only eating dead processed foods, you've got no vital energy. But if you're eating alive, especially like sprouted foods and, fresh vegetables and fruits, you're actually eating that live energy. And now we're all trying to go into 5D or 4D. Well, our bodies have to be light and cleanse. And so I think it's really important to look at your diet and your habits.
No, absolutely. The habits are key, aren't they? So very quickly, we're going to pass the ball off here to Shelly to take over the facilitation and go through the questions. There are a couple questions about heavy metals, about how you got rid of the heavy metals and what is a good detox for heavy metal poisoning. On that note, I will just pause here and pass it off to Shelly to continue. Thank you so much, Shelly, and thank you, Gordana, and thank you to everyone participating tonight.
Thanks, Philip.
Thank you, Philip.
Have a good night. Hi, Jordana.
Hi, Shelly.
So there's a question here, and it is, what is a good detox for heavy metal poisoning? And the other question is, how did you get rid of heavy metals, which I understand was by chelation, which is an intravenous therapy. Is that right?
Well, you can take pills. I did intravenous, which is basically a couple hours. You sit there and they have a little drip going through your body, and it eliminates it in the urine. And then they test that. So they send it off every so often to see what's coming out and how much metals are left in your body. I know that there are pills that you can take. Your doctor can give you some. You can buy some that you can orally take. And that's the quickest way to detox. And depending on which metals, I mean, there's so many ways. For example, mercury is very tricky. The only natural thing that will take mercury out of your brain is cilantro. And I never used to like cilantro. Now I love it. I grow it. I put it in my smoothie every morning. So that actually will release it and take it out of your body. There are many ways, like even like chlorella and spirulina. But there are ways to do it. It's a process of doing it. You could, bentonite clay, which will pull it out. So you would take chlorella, which will loosen up the toxins, and then the bentonite clay would trap it in your intestines and pull it out. So you have to make sure that you don't just release it and it floats around and stays in your body, but you actually expel it out. So, yeah, it depends again what metal, how intense it is, but some simple things could be just, for example, even lemon water is actually amazing in the morning. It cleanses your palate so you don't have cravings. It is antifungal, so it'll cleanse your gut. It loosens up all those things that need to go. And celery juice is really amazing, the salts in it. So it's usually a combination of things. It's not just one thing that you would do, but for example, for cilantro, for mercury, you can eat a lot of cilantro. You can put it in your smoothies, and it's really amazing for that.
Did you have the heavy metal testing done, a urine test? The analysis done so they knew what type of chelates needed to be added to the drip? Yeah,
so they sent that off to the US to a lab. So they would test, and I think they would test because I had to, for the first maybe 3 or 4 months, I had to go 3 times a week. And I had a double chelation because for mercury, it's a specific one. And then for the rest is your standard chelation, EDTA, I think it's called. And so I would have the 2-hour one first, and then I would have the 20-minute, which is actually more nasty than anything else. And what it did is made me very nauseous and weak. for a couple of days and I had to go back again. So I couldn't really function for the first few months. And so they tested, I can't remember if it was monthly or so, they would test it and see what's left. So I ended up doing 3 times a week. And then after a few months, it was, once a week. And then later on, it was once every 2 weeks and then once a month for maintenance. And I still had some left because, there still would be some, but I am very careful with my diet and the products that I use, because I learned this through school too, that some people are missing an enzyme. Some people call it gene, but it's an enzyme, but you could test for the specific gene that helps you detox naturally. So I think that's what happened to me. So instead of detoxing as you go, as most people do to a certain extent, but we live in such a toxic environment, mine just, accumulated. And I had to detox it that way. So now I read all the labels, whatever I use on my skin, in my home, my clothing, natural. So I just try not to bring in any more. And so I do kind of cleanse all the time because I know I need it, but I just try to stay away and, living in where I live, fresh air and not inhaling, fumes. That's certainly helpful because I see a big difference. Even though I live in when I was a small town, when I go to work and I'm in town, I feel tired as soon as I come home. And I think, oh God, I'm tired. I need to kind of sit down. But as soon as I get home, I have a tea, I'm energized. It's the fresh air, it's the trees, and probably the energy too.
It's hard to get away from it. Like we just can't. It's pervasive. It's everywhere, in everything. And so once you came to this maintenance level, you don't have to do chelation anymore. You're just on a maintenance. Like, what would you suggest to people to do as a basic cleanse to change our diet, to get back to homeostasis, where we're not so lethargic, where we're sick and tired of feeling sick and tired? What would you recommend for support? Do we need liver support? Do we need gallbladder support? Should we be taking digestive enzymes and probiotics, adding into our food? You talk about intermittent fasting and just getting from, what would you recommend to do to get from sick and tired of feeling sick and tired into baby steps moving toward health? Because we don't want to it has to be a gentle process and everybody is different. So what would be good for everybody to start with?
Well, I would recommend a couple of books for those who have heard of The Medical Medium, Anthony William, which is my latest, call it a diet. I follow different people. Cleanse to Heal, he's got this huge book and he's got lots of different cleanses in it. An everyday cleanse, mono eating, morning cleanse for those ones who can just do mornings. He's got liver cleanse, that's a really good book to read. I would say to start making changes, it's eliminating those trouble foods. For example, processed foods, dairy. A lot of people are allergic to dairy. And we're not meant to digest, we're not baby cows, right? Cow's milk. And interestingly enough, the milk, the cows and the milk that we have here is not the same as it is in Europe. It's a different type of protein that we can't digest here, but go to Europe and have it. Same with wheat, when it comes to gluten, because they don't use, it's not just the genetically modified crops, but it's the way that they're harvested and sprayed. Gluten is usually a trouble food. So just even for a week or 2 weeks, maybe staying away from processed foods, from gluten, from eggs. And the problem with eggs, according to Anthony William, which is really interesting, is that they use eggs in labs to grow viruses. So this is in the viral, say, genetic memory. So when you eat, there's nothing wrong with eggs per se, but when you're eating eggs, you're actually feeding, if you have viruses in your body, you're feeding them because that's, that's what they eat. So eggs, soy, alcohol, just staying away from those foods, and then doing simple thing, half a lemon or a lemon in, you can do warm water in the morning. Just eating, starting off with just eliminating, even just first few days, maybe one day eliminate one food. Elimination diet's really good because then you can figure out what you're allergic to. So you eliminate all those trouble foods, and then you just eat clean for a week, and then you start reintroducing one at a time. Give it a day or two and see if you react to it. And then you'll figure out if a certain food is not, sitting well with you. That's the only way to know. I mean, you can go and get a test too, they poke you with needles and so on. You can do that, but you can just eliminate that way. So gradually, changing your habits from what you're eating, maybe, adding in some intermittent fasting, in eating more fresh, real foods until you get used to, your palate has to change. It's really hard for people. They eat a lot of, processed foods, salty foods, and, when they eat something natural or fresh, there's no taste for them. So it takes, and I find the lemon water helps because it does cleanse that faster. But you have to really, and sometimes you don't like or love what you eat to start with, but you slowly, your body, as your body cleanses, it starts to crave healthy foods. I never used to eat avocados or mushrooms, never. And now I eat an avocado every day. It's just, you change, your body changes as you cleanse, as you get healthier, then you realize, then you just don't want to eat that anymore and you want to eat something else. So your body's very wise. It knows how to heal. So if you listen, our bodies are always talking to us, but we're just not tuning in. We're not listening. So if you're not feeling good, your gut's not feeling good, what did you eat? A food diary is a great way to start. So for a week or two, you write down everything that you eat and symptoms. And then you can go back and look at it and see, okay, well, every time I eat squash, this is what happens to me. So that's a simple way of doing it. And that way too, you get to actually see what you eat, because we don't really think about it, especially if we're just eating out of habit. We don't realize how much we're eating and what we're eating. But when you write everything down, and then you look at all the things you've eaten in a day, it's an interesting experience to have. And then just tune into your body and see, see how your body reacts.
Yeah, oh, that's great advice. I mean, we've had the opportunity this past year of getting in touch with who we are. We've gotten off of the hamster wheel a little bit. We've been able to step back and reprioritize things, and we can get quiet now and we can listen. Our gut speaks to us every minute of every day. We don't listen. We're busy. We're not so busy anymore. And, we owe nothing more to ourselves than to get in touch with who we are and what our microbiome is telling us. I mean, we need to, if we're going to ascend and we're going to do all of those, take all of those steps, part of it is doing that work. And we're stubborn and we don't really want to get quiet. We really don't want to listen. And we prefer to have those potato chips and those hot dogs until we get into a healing crisis, and then we have no choice but to stop. And I just love the advice and everything that you shared with us this evening. It's I had a quick question. I had a thought before. Now, what do you think about activated charcoal? as a form of detoxing?
It's really good if you have food poisoning or something like that. That's a really quick, natural way to cleanse. Can whiten your teeth. It's you know, you can. There's actually protocols too for even getting some of the nasty things out of your body, or you know, if you happen to have get a toxic dose of vaccine or anything like that. So there's a way to cleanse that. And diatomaceous earth, activated charcoal, bentonite clay, you can mix that in water and drink it, and it'll pull out, you know, if there's any kind of nanoparticles, plastics and things like that in your body. Yes.
It was
Very
my information that it also acts as a chelate, so that it would bind heavy metals that are in your body onto the charcoal and also pull it out.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So it does that as well.
So with a combination of, that's why you take the bentonite clay, because that's what pulls it out. So bentonite clay goes into your intestines and kind of cleanses the walls and just pulls everything out. So using that, and it's basically, when you mix them all, it's like a powder. It's like a, you know, like an oatmeal. It's not pleasant. I'm not saying it is, but it's something that you do. And keep in mind, when you are detoxing or cleansing, you mentioned healing crisis. Yes, that's something that happens. So depending on how much stuff you need to cleanse, you're not going to feel good. And that's to celebrate. Then you know you're healing, you know you're cleansing. So when you're feeling miserable, you say, yeah, thank you, because I'm getting rid of all these nasty things, right?
Right.
Instead of just, you know, feeling really, and you have to give your body time and rest, because it's going through a lot. So you're feeling tired, you need to sleep. You do that because your body's working. It's working all the time. You know, while you're sleeping, things are working. And so when you're detoxing, it is a ritual too. It can be. I try and do it spring cleaning, you know, in fall. I do like 1 week or 2 weeks, but on ongoing basis, I'm pretty good. I always do a morning cleanse.
There's somebody asking here, where do you get the right bent clay, charcoal, and diatomaceous earth? Claudia here doesn't know exactly where to get it.
Well, health food stores, diatomaceous earth, you want to get the food grade. They use that, you know, you can even get that in animal supply stores. They use that for mites and chickens, and, you know, you can use it in your garden. I use it as pest control. So I'll put it around, you know, a patch. If I have bugs going to it, they will not cross it. They will not cross the little layer that I put on. But just make sure it's food grade. You can get it online. I get it at a health food store. I can, you know, if someone's interested in doing the protocol, just email me and I can send you the ratios and how to do it.
Awesome. Thank you very, very much, Gordana, for all of your information. We're going to open it up a little bit. If anybody has any questions.
Raise your hand on with the reaction button so we can see it. I don't know whether we got all the questions from the chat here.
From the chat.
Michelle?
Did you use other therapies than only Reiki and yeah,
Yes, medical medium. That's right.
medical medium? Well, I have approximately all his book at not the last one yet.
The last one's a Bible. It's this thick.
Well, they're all Bibles for me.
Yeah.
But do you try it like reflexology or acupuncture to get your meridians flowing again, or like reflexology to have your lymph system cleaned and whatever. I don't know. There are so many, therapies available
Definitely.
not only with like the medium, the medical medium, but also it has to go out of your body at certain points too.
Yes, those are all good things to try. And, dry brushing for your lymphs. So just getting a brush and always brush towards the heart.
Mhm.
So you brush the skin before you take a shower or take a bath, you stimulate your lymph to drain. I also have a little vibration plate that in the morning I do a 10-minute little session on it that vibrates and that moves your lymph. Mini trampolines, just jumping on a mini trampoline, it's basically moving. You have to be moving to get your lymph to function properly. If you're just sitting around, laying around, there's not going to be a lot of movement. So yes,
Some people that are like in a really health situation and not able to jump
mhm.
can't use that.
No, so again, dry brushing, reflexology is amazing. I do occasionally. I've only tried acupuncture once or twice. I think from what I know about it, I think it's great. There's so many modalities that you can use, but even like for me, because I use the scalar that will also balance your body, your chakras, and your meridians, and align them. So you can do, energy, like energy healing. It's basically energy. We are energy. So it's balancing, healing, getting things to move. I had my dog sick last week and I couldn't see the vet for 10 days. And my friend of mine had an animal communicator and she healed them. I didn't, I was open to it because why not? Healing is healing. And just like you can do distance Reiki. And whatever she did, I mean, he was in such a bad space, but it was just energy. She moved, and that's what she was doing. She told me she was working with the meridians. She tuned into his body, and pressed certain points to get things flowing. And so that's all we are. So there, when it comes to healing, it could be, you could call it, you can call it Reiki, you can call it, whatever. It's all the same thing. It's all energy. It's just slightly different ways of using it, and intention. I think intention is really important. But whatever you have, like if you have someone that you trust near you that can do reflexology or acupuncture, it's great to do. But there are things you can do at home, slowly, such as dry brushing. Just get a brush from a dollar store, if nothing else. Just make it a habit. Have it by your tub or your shower, and every time before you take a shower, and if you're taking baths, dry brush and then have Epsom salts and maybe some lavender oil, because that's really good. You get magnesium, which relaxes your muscles. You get minerals in it, and have your own time, to relax, put on some healing music, just get into that state of mind, and that does a lot for the body.
Thank you.
I have a question. How do you mix bentonite clay, and with what? With water?
Water, yes. So it depends on if you're taking it on its own or if you're taking it, because that's a lot of people use bentonite clay as colon cleanse. You also can use other things with it to make it a full cleanse. But you just put you could start with 1 tablespoon in a glass of water, and you just mix it and you drink it, and then see how you do it. If you need to, if you need to, or you can take more than that. And that's basically it. Always just in water.
Is it warm water, cold water,
I
lukewarm?
don't think it matters so much. Probably easier to do it cold because it's not a pleasant thing for me anyway. It's like mud. So I don't know if warm would be, easy going down. I would, try cold and then see.
Can it be mixed with something else too, like a juice, or then it doesn't make sense?
I don't think, probably not. I wouldn't, and it doesn't have a taste. Like it's not like bitter, or it's just for me, it's the texture. It's like chalky, right?
Like
So it doesn't
chalk.
matter if you mix it in juice, it's still going to be chalky. So it
Yes.
doesn't have any scent, or it doesn't have any taste. I just don't like the texture of it personally.
Mm. And did you hear 2 days ago, I was reading that they tested a pregnant woman in the West Coast and they found additional 50 foreign chemicals in her body, 50, which is astounding, for the number of these chemicals. So made me wonder where did it come from, because if it's in the West Coast, why not, in the East Coast or center or everywhere? Yes, especially that we had this issue with the snow that, didn't burn and didn't melt. And it was tested and they found out that all or the same ingredient that it's in chemtrail, came down with the snow, and actually the level of aluminum that was in the snow was 25 times higher than the allowed norm. So and now everything will go to the ground and will go to the food and grass, trees, everything. So
well, even like if you're growing your own food and you're trying to be organic, if there is a neighbor that's spraying, and then when it rains, it washes out, it comes to, down and into your soil. You can't help that. Luckily, I don't have anything like that going on here, but we are actually babies are born with on average over 200 different toxins in their body. That's from mom and just being born. So we start off already that way when they're in our immune system. What they do now you can ask, some doctors will take a vaginal swab and put it over the baby's face. And that actually helps the immune system because it takes all the good bugs and transfers it from mom to baby. But there are some interesting studies and some doctors who tested their own kids and who eat everything right, have organic food, and they're puzzled, why do we have all these toxins and chemicals? But they are everywhere. Our air is sprayed, it's in the soil, it's in our clothing, furniture that you touch, in everything, in the food, in the drinks, in your car, in the fumes. So when they say it's safe, whatever is a safe dosage, but that's on its own. But when you add everything else that you do in that day and every day, and it accumulates, it's definitely not within that range.
That's right. Thank you.
Somebody's asking, have you heard of zeolite clay? If you have, how would you use it?
I did use it a long time ago. If I can remember, well, zeolite, you could take, sorry, on my screen here, I just got a message from Windows. There are different forms. You can take it in a pill form. There's liquid that you could take, and depending on what you're taking, the dosage, what you're buying, it'll have recommendations because the strength of it and what you're supposed to take. It's excellent for cleansing. There's so many ways to cleanse. So zeolite. Yeah, I did that a few years ago. I've tried everything that you've heard of on myself. So it's been a long time since I did zeolite, but definitely something that's worth looking into.
I've never heard of zeolite. What is it?
It's a compound. It's a natural compound. I don't know if it's a mineral or what exactly it is. It comes from the earth. And so how these things work is they attract. So for example, toxins in your body are, say a positive charge, and then you take something like zeolite, which is a negative, and then it attracts it and then pulls it out. So that's how they pick up all these things that we pick up on the charge of, nanoparticles or toxins. And just like if you've heard of like using a salt lamp, for example, so negative ions. So negative ions, you can get it from a salt lamp, we can go to a waterfall or ocean or trees. So what they do, so our air has positive ions, and they could be all sorts of particles in the air, and they're floating around and they're, heavy. So when you introduce negative ions, what they do is they grab onto those ones and bring them down to the ground and out of the air. So they cleanse the air that way. So we're not breathing them in. So they neutralize them. So that's how all this, again, we're energy, and then we're looking at positive and negative. It all works hand in hand.
That's so interesting. I'm going to go and get my heavy metals tested now. I'm really
Most of us are
interested to know if this foggy brain in here is due to that. I want to get back a little bit to the property that you have. So you're up and running and you're ready to go. You're ready to do some sessions and some healing if anybody wanted to come by.
Yes, I'm just not ready to do retreats yet. I don't think I'm allowed with the current situation. That will be more later on, hopefully in the summer. But I definitely, when it comes to nutrition or Reiki or yoga or any healing one-on-one or
one-on-one. Yeah, you're good for one-on-one, right?
One-on-one, or if people come together, 2 people or a family, that's fine too. Yeah.
And in terms of retreats, how many people can you hold? And what would, if you were looking at a weekend retreat or something, what would the accommodation be like? And hopefully that we'll be able to do that, because we're all going to come.
Oh, yes. So currently I only have 6 extra bedrooms, and some of them could be, a couple of friends. My neighbor is on a lake. I'm just next to him. There's a lake at the end of the street. He's got a bed and breakfast, and they have 4 or 5 bedrooms there too that we can utilize. I have another house on the property, but I'm renting it. That has 3 more bedrooms, so currently it's rented. So that's what I've got at the moment. I do have my partner's got a big property with lots of bedrooms, but it's about a half an hour drive. But that could be also, it depends. Right now I'm looking at smaller groups, starting out with smaller groups, and also thinking of doing just like a 1 day. I can do a 1 day little workshop and all sorts of different topics where you come in, you eat healthy, and maybe we do healings or meditation or whatever, so it's like a full day that you can do. And on top of that, I'm thinking to also do just bed and breakfast. So people are coming and they just want to stay for a night or 2 nights or whatever, or overnight in a day, and just stay and be fed, or throw in some treatments. That's something that I can do too.
Sounds amazing.
Instead of going to a hotel, right?
Yeah, Maria wants to know if we could pitch tents.
Well, why not?
Okay.
I've got
good.
space, or you got a camper. Yes. I'm just, starting. So it's something maybe that, I can think about and look into to expand, because, starting out with what I have is okay. And then, if there's a need for more, maybe tents or campers or trailers. I don't know. Yeah.
We're looking forward to it. We want to be allowed to do that. We're all biting at the bit, right?
Yeah, why
Yeah.
not?
No, no,
Big,
no.
one big family, right?
Yeah, no, it sounds
Community.
wonderful. It sounds absolutely wonderful. I think it would be even like for a day, right?
Mhm.
Saturday, a Sunday, just to come, go out into nature, just chill and do some meditation, do some crystal healing, do some sound. It would be wonderful, wonderful.
Yeah, and a lot of
Yeah.
people like here that, live in big towns or Vancouver, and they want to get away for the weekend and just come over and have a cleansing, easy weekend or detox. I can safely detox them for a couple of days, and just get away. I can pick them up at the ferry or the airport, seaplane or whatever. I can offer that, free
Awesome.
pickup and drop off, and then you don't have to drive. You don't have to think about anything. It's your time. And then, I'm thinking about, just a fun girls' weekend, a bunch of friends, and I can tailor that to the group, what they would like to do. They want to have just a nice healing weekend, or they want to have a wild weekend, whatever. I got trails
great.
everywhere. I got a river walk. I can walk to the river. I got a lake next door, so I'm open to requests and working with everybody.
Awesome. And your contact information is on your website? You said your
That's
phone?
the email. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
your
only
email.
got the
Yeah,
email
perfect.
there.
Yeah. Okay, great.
That's my email for the website. I got another personal email too. That's with connecting consciousness. I didn't put my phone number down, but I can. I just didn't want to publicize that on my website yet. It's
Yeah, for sure.
venue.
Yeah, understandable. No, that's awesome. Yeah. Okay, good. Thank you. Really appreciate it. Any last questions from anybody? Okay. Well, thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome, and thank you for listening to me and inviting me to speak. And I look forward to meeting many of you, just, whether you're coming here for R&R or just meeting another member of CC, and just doing little get-togethers. I think it'd be great when we can just get together, sit in a circle and, talk or do whatever we want to do. So
yeah, sounds absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, everybody. I think we're going on an hour and a half. And if anybody has anything that they want to share, we can open it up.
And you can turn your videos on again.
Turn on one?
The video, turn the video on.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah,
I haven't been able to read many comments. I'm focusing on answering questions. Could I save the chat? Can you give me that permission so I can read?
yeah,
the
sure. Save it.
comments? I think it says, it says you need a, please ask the host to give you permission to record.
Yeah, I do that.
Or if anybody, yeah.
And I put the other chat, how to save it in here too. I make you I don't know if I can make you co-host that you can do it.
Click on the three dots. That's what I did.
Record local files. Okay, try it again. Otherwise, I can email it to you too, the chat.
Okay, it didn't, okay, oh, I see. That's for recording, but how do I save it? I just started recording now. Oops, I lost you.
Now, when you open the chat on the bottom right, there's the three dots. Click on the three dots and then save chat.
Okay.
I can email it to you too, doesn't matter.
Well, that's, so I've clicked on the three dots, but it says just chat. And now I started recording, pause or stop recording, but it doesn't say save.
Yeah, on the chat, when the chat window is open, on the bottom right, next to
Yeah,
file.
where it says more.
No, I guess you are in the wrong thing or what somehow. The chat itself, when it's open on the right side.
Oh, it's not
have,
open for me. I can just
I,
see it flash. Well, if
I
you can
can
email
I
it,
email it to you. I email
thank
it to
you.
you. It's easier.
Thank you.
Good.
Again, I'm new to, Zoom and all, because I'm just learning all this stuff. So just doing the
It depends
basics.
to what computer you use. If you have
Yeah.
a Mac or Windows or iPad and other stuff, sometimes the icons are different spots and so. Yeah.
On the
Okay.
on the iPad, you can't save the chat.
Well, it's a laptop, but it
Okay.
doesn't give me an option. It said I could record, but it doesn't say save. I heard that you could, so I tried, and it said I needed a permission, which you gave me, but it's just recording. It started recording now. I should have done it from the beginning.
Yeah, it
But
said
next
something.
time I'll know.
When I click on your thing, it says allow to record local files. So I don't know whether that is a chat or start videos or what. I email it to you. That's the easiest.
Thank you. So I can see what people are saying and asking, and that would be helpful. Any feedback is helpful. I welcome it.
Connie, you have your hand up.
Yes. Gordana, thank you very much for all that you've shared with us this evening. My question for you is, how long have you investigated and have been using the scalar reading, the Tesla disc therapy and the frequencies? I'm really quite interested in this study of your frequency and raising your vibration, and I think that's such a hot topic for us right now. And so I'm just curious as to where you stumbled across that healing modality.
Well, I have been using the discs, which is the easiest way to start. You can buy these. Oh, I have some here that you could see. You can see some. There's these little discs like this with copper coils. This is just one that I use for meditation. I have a number of different ones. Some have harmonies in them. There's different waves of energy. There's some basic ones. So I got into it a couple of years ago, and I just started using them on the body, and I could feel like if I have it near my head, like buzzing in my ears and my head, and I know it's doing something, right? So I started using it. If something hurts, I would just put it there, or I would use it on my chakras, and I put it under my glass of water or my tea. I actually have a specific one for my tea pot, and I just use my teapot on it. And so it energizes the water. But this new machine I just received, so I learned about it, and I'm just testing it still. It's very interesting. There's so many. You can get the coils. You can get kits and build your Tesla coils, and use them for a lot of them. You can actually, I have a big disc that's about this big across, and you can use a couple of those with coils and sit between it. And they say, I mean, I don't know, I'm not enough about it, you can cure anything, because it's just like you're in the waves. So to me, it's fascinating. So I was using it, and then it's kind of a pricey machine, for your use, but I thought, well, maybe since I'm doing healing, I can justify getting a machine, and then I can use it in the healing. And so, so I'm just dabbling in it now, and I'm, just using it to energize and imprint, and it's really neat. But it is new to me, the actual machine, because it does extra stuff, and all these discs that I use. Now I can recharge them, and I can tune them to a certain frequency, which is great. And then, for a different person, whatever they need, like whether you're just cleansing your aura, your chakras, or you're trying to move something, or do healing, or, work on your third eye or your gut, or whatever. So there's a lot to it. It's so easy to explain, but that just gives you an idea. what it is. But yeah, this you can get them. I got mine online. And you can just use them. You can see, like, you could feel, I don't know if everybody could feel, but I definitely, if I'm holding it, or I put it on a certain spot, I can feel the vibration of it. I can feel the heat sometimes. Sometimes it's the buzzing. I line them up and I'm just like buzzing all over. It's pretty cool.
Yes, thank you very much for that conversation. I've heard lots about like very strong magnets and using that to pull the toxins from your body from the outside, pulling it out instead of like internalizing the healing through a detox of some sort. But magnetics or like the energy, like Tesla. So I'm very curious moving forward on what we're going to see coming when we're talking about the fifth dimension and beyond. So such an exciting time to be alive on the planet right now. And so I really appreciate everything you've shared with us this evening.
And you know, the med beds that are coming, that's what they're based on, the scalar, scalar energy. And what is scalar energy? It's basically the energy of the stars. It's out there. The simplest way of explaining it, but the med beds are based on Tesla technology, and you can get all sorts of devices like little wands. They're very expensive, but you can get them like with lasers and so on, and work with healing as well. There's lots of little gadgets out there because now, and it's going to be so much more because we're just coming into this new field of, so that's really exciting.
It sounds like this is the next stage above and beyond tuning forks, like much zoned in, right? One step up in technology.
And sounds really healing too. Yeah. I have a huge gong that you can see on the website that's outside, but even like if you're trying to cleanse your space, Tibetan bells, even just ringing the bell will cleanse the energy in your space, in your room. I have singing bowls. I use them for meditation and starting yoga and so on. But sound therapy, really amazing. You don't need to be poked with needles and ingest all sorts of things. Like you can use the natural, we are energy and our bodies are, natural. So using sounds, using different healing techniques, and food is medicine as well, fresh air.
Yeah, it's awesome. Thank you so much. Somebody just posted here, our bodies are wonderful healers.
Yes.
And that's it in a nutshell, isn't it?
It is. We just have to tune in, give them what they need, and trust. Trust. Your intention is also important. Like if you believe and intend to heal, and you're accepting of it, because you can't force it on anybody. Like all the healing. There's always a debate with Reiki. You're allowed to send Reiki to someone without their permission. Some people say yes, and some people say no. But what is Reiki? Reiki is just love. So if you're just sending love, and whether we consciously or unconsciously are accepting of it, what we are aware of and what actually goes on beyond that, because that's something we don't see. Just like you don't see the Reiki energy, but your body, your different bodies are accepting of it. But some people will not get healed because they're not supposed to. That wasn't their contract in this life, and that's maybe their lesson. Or then they don't want to get healed, and that's just how it is. But others who want to and are willing to accept and believe, and anything that you do, your mind is so powerful. We are all creators, and we're all so powerful. We're little pieces. Like if God is the ocean, we're little droplets in the ocean, and we all have that little blueprint within us.
Yeah, that's very well stated, very profound, very insightful. Absolutely, that's great. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we're coming up on to the 2-hour mark. If there isn't anything else, anybody want to contribute? Anybody have anything they want to share? If not, I'll just do our final thoughts and closing, and that'll be it for the night. No, nothing? No? All right.
Looks
So,
everybody is fine.
I'm sorry?
Everybody is fine here, I guess.
Yeah.
Save your chat again.
Yep, save the chat. Save the chat. If anybody wants to save the chat, go ahead. Just wanted to reiterate on what Philip said earlier on, that CC Canada has now launched its website. It's canadacc.org for anyone who came in a little bit late and didn't hear that. We're going to be navigating from the monthly email newsletter that's going out to all the membership towards the website, where everything is listed there, all of the Zoom calls, all the events, all the interviews, everything that's happening on a daily basis from coast to coast is going to be shared there. Every province has a discussion group. You can join yours or you can join them all. There's also the healers discussion group. That is a private group that you have to join. And our next meeting is going to be on Thursday, April the 15th at 7 p.m. And our next Zoom gathering, it's going to be quiet for the next week. And it is Thursday, April the 8th, 8 p.m. for our CC Canada National Zoom gathering. And I think that is about it. Let me just check my very quickly prepared notes.
I think that's pretty much it here.
That's it? You think that's it?
Yep.
Anybody who wants to take up a coordinator role, who's interested in getting a little bit more active and involved in CC, we're looking for people who have that call to action, and we are happy to answer any questions that you may have concerning that role. And I think that's about it.